Good morning, folks. This is Carlton with Carlton's Travel Adventures. I'm here with a couple of guests, Phil and Nicole.
Yep.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, so you guys moved to Medellin about 8 months ago?
Yes, 8 months ago, right?
About when you moved here?
The 1st of January.
January, right? Okay. So start with this. You have a family or you come by yourself?
No, we have a family of 2 kids and my wife, and we basically just took off of from Pensacola, Florida. And we lived in Dallas, but we took off just to come here.
Okay.
And we were going to check it out at first. Okay, so
why Medellin?
Medellin? Well, okay, so there's a couple of things with this. I was just trying to get my wife to come to Colombia. And then while we were in Colombia, or while we were in Florida, next thing you know, she comes back and says, okay, well, I bought tickets. I'm like, okay, where'd you buy tickets to? And she said Medellin, because we originally had plans to move to Cartagena. But, you hear things. My idea of Medellin beforehand was that it was just one big party town.
Okay.
So I was a little bit reluctant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So why did you choose Medellin?
Well, I did more research. So Phil was stuck on Cartagena. I got to do Cartagena. He's a scuba diver, so he was obsessed with the water.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I understand. I totally understand.
After doing some research, I kept seeing people say it's too hot, it's unbearable, it's too hot.
Human.
So I started doing more research, and I ended up finding Medellin and seeing that the climate was perfect, the cost of living was great, the infrastructure was perfect for a family where our kids could go to school potentially. So Medellin it was, and I bought the tickets, and that was it.
Any regrets so far?
No regrets.
You like it here, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful place here. So I mean, cost of living is so good, man.
Yes. And I just took advantage of the situation. I'm like, hey, I got her in Colombia, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
So Medellin has been fairly good to us.
Yeah.
Since you have a family, about the kids, how are the kids getting, accustomed to I mean, people speak Spanish here. They don't speak Spanish, do they? The kids.
Okay,
A
so
little bit.
now they do. When we first got down here, our Spanish was on the low end. It wasn't great at all. And the kids' Spanish had no Spanish at all. So our primary concern was how the kids were going to talk to other little kids, because we didn't want them to be in the house and not play with them
Themselves, right.
And then there was going out from the house when I didn't know Spanish. So even going across the street to the supermarket, there's an Exito supermarket that was right across the street. I went in there, I was sweating. The lady started asking me a bunch of questions. I didn't know. I was just kept saying, see, everything. And, so it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, if you look back at our channel is called A Traveling Jones.
Oh, you have a channel too, right?
Yes, Traveling Jones, and we actually filmed our process of going through the airport, being on the airplane, counting down because we were on the airplane during New Year's. So you could see the kids; they were very happy. They weren't really scared or concerned. Like, what are we doing? So if you guys want to check that out, you can see too.
Yeah, check them out, the Traveling Jones.
Yes, A Traveling Jones.
Okay, good.
A Traveling Jones.
A Traveling Jones.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Check them all out. Learn about their experience, especially for a family that's coming here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single guy, but a lot of families are coming here now, so you probably learn a lot from their experience in making that move from the United States to Medellin. Okay.
Yes, definitely. Coming down as a family has been very different from what we've seen because what we were doing was trying to do our research on coming down to Medellin, but mostly everyone that we were talking to or that we saw were all single, single guys.
Yeah.
So I had my concerns, especially because all the things we heard about Medellin was, party this, party that, party that. What are we going to do as a family? But coming down, we've noticed and we took note of a lot of different things that don't apply to someone that's coming down here and that's single.
Yeah. It is a party town, but you can stay away from that stuff. I'm away from it. I don't go to Poblado, hang out. I'm not a big drinker. I don't, hang out and drink a lot of stuff. So you can stay away from that stuff if you want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you come here on vacation, that's nice to do. And if my friends come on vacation, they all want to go to Poblado and Parque Jettas.
Right.
So I go do that with them. But if they're not here, I'm away from that stuff, and I'm fine.
And the crazy thing is you can get away from a certain aspect of Medellin to a different aspect, say party town to residential,
Right.
by a couple of blocks.
Right.
Right.
You know, Poblado, I think, gets a bad rap for just being party town. I don't think it's really party town because we've been to play. As a matter of fact, we have good friends that are on the outside of Poblado, like on the top of the mountains.
Right.
And it's quite residential and upper class, really high class place, great malls, and not that bad. Although the traffic gets kind of sketchy.
Right. So tell me more about, the family aspect of living here with kids and getting them in school and stuff like that. Expand a little. How do you have a hard time getting in schools?
Yeah, so I think Phil has a lot more background on that simply because he was the one with his feet on the ground, going to different schools and setting up the interviews. So let him explain that part first.
What was that experience?
So the school process was very interesting. Somewhat like it is in the U.S., where you have to have a lot of documentation to get your kids into school. But the thing about it is that you have to have a lot of that documentation possible to even get that transition in.
Right.
Once you get past that and get your cedula, the Colombian ID to get the kids into school, then it goes into the process of actually finding a school. So you have the...
So documentation first.
Wow.
Yes.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes, immunization records, even, okay, so the grades are a little bit different here.
Right.
So while you might have kindergarten in the United States and you have Jardín here in Colombia, the age difference and expectations per grade are a little bit different as well.
Right.
Mainly based off of age and not per se the grade. And that's because they don't have anything to compare it to as far as the United States are here. So you have to keep that in mind in finding a school. Now, the type of schools, you have your public schools which allow you to get your kid into school, but it's going to be unlikely that there's going to be an English speaking program, which is going to put more pressure on the kids.
Right.
Then you have your private school, which wants more English speaking children from their school, but they don't know how to take in Americans or people that are non-Spanish speaking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you finally got them in school, and how did they really learn if they don't know Spanish? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah.
So once you get past, okay, so part of the interview,
Math, you don't have to worry about.
Universal, but
Universal.
yeah.
typically you don't have to worry about math.
Right.
It's part of the interview process.
Okay.
Because in the interview process, they want you to be able to show that your kid has certain core competencies.
Right.
So it's going to be your math. It's going to be your Spanish. So if your kid doesn't know Spanish, it's going to be the
Right.
competency isn't going to be there.
Right.
Right.
The problem runs into when your kids get a little bit older. Once your kid turns 6, you automatically have to go to the first grade. But the difference between first grade and kindergarten are significantly different. Whereas a kindergarten kid basically has to show competency and understanding, you know what your shapes are, you can learn, but there's no focus on that. Whereas in the first grade, there's focus on mathematics, there's a focus on science, and also Spanish, which they do have to pass those tests.
Your kids in the kindergarten or first grade?
Both.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we have one in the first grade,
Right.
one in kindergarten. Now, the schedule is different. So for our kids, they are following the A schedule, which is January, a little bit, I think January to November. So they get a week or 3 weeks off in June and then 3 weeks off in December. So the whole month basically in December. So keep that in mind as well. You could do the B schedule, which kind of follows the US schedule, where they're off in the summertime. So what was I saying? 'Cause
Okay, I can say this though. If having a bunch of vacation time is a big thing for you in the U.S., you'll have twice as much here.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a holiday every other week on it's either
Yeah.
a Friday or a Monday.
You have like 20 national holidays.
Yeah.
20 national
Oh, I know
holidays.
what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I was gonna say that for our 5-year-old, it's pretty much easy for her to adjust to a Spanish-speaking school, right? Because she already knew English. She was learning her letters at the time. She already knew her colors and her shapes. My son knows how to read in English before he started school, right? With no exposure to Spanish. So we're having to simultaneously teach English and Spanish, because typically when a child is learning how to read, they may forget some fundamental things in English because they're learning how to read Spanish. So like the sounds, like for instance, the vowels in Spanish is different from the vowels in English. So if they just learn how to read using the English or the vowels in English, they're going to be rusty in Spanish. It's going to take them a little bit, and it's going to be very difficult. Okay, I'm not going to fluff this up and say that, oh, he's fluent. It's a challenge, but it's worth it.
But kids seem to catch on to languages faster than adults.
Yes. So it's.
Because I'm having a hard time.
Yes, it is. It's very difficult. But it's still difficult for him because his foundation is English.
Right, I know.
Yeah, so he still has to, but he has the ear. There's a lot of things that he knows that I didn't know that he knew, right? Like he can read in Spanish, but he doesn't know that. You know, like we'll walk and he'll see a sign and he knows the vowel so he can pronounce it,
right,
but he doesn't know what it means.
Okay.
So little by little, you know.
But wasn't it challenging, let's say the first week, first month in class, where they don't know what the teachers are saying to them? I mean,
no. We would have our son would routinely come in and say, they have me writing stuff.
what it is.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it means, but I'm writing it. And so in his book, you'll see he writes out the words, but he has no idea what they mean.
I'm thinking about the same thing, you know, for the first month. It'll get better over time.
It gets better over time.
Yeah, but
and
for the
you
first
also
month,
have to homeschool. You still have to homeschool.
Right.
You know, you can't just send them to school and then be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to.
You have to refresh.
Do you have a tutor or something that helps?
Yeah, we have a tutor that comes 2 times a week that teaches them Spanish. And then I teach them how to read in English. So I do that part myself. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a short time. They'll pick up a lot faster than us.
Yeah, they will.
Pick up. And I'm sure by another year, they'll be speaking perfect Spanish.
Exactly.
Better than us.
Yeah.
I've been here a year, and I still get some hard time. People say, "You've been here a year. Why don't you know Spanish?"
Yeah.
You know.
But
it's hard.
We actually have to pick up Spanish here in the house because the teachers in the school encourage us to talk Spanish to the kids. Because if English is your primary language in the household, they're going to forget the Spanish as soon as they walk through the door.
I know.
So,
I know we hang around Sweet Georgia Cafe sometimes. A lot of guys there all speak English.
Right. You get comfortable.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So I have friends that speak English, and you just get comfortable. We talk to them in English. You know, well, you should be actually speaking more in Spanish. I have more Spanish friends, but it's okay. I told someone recently, I'll get there in time. I'm not going to stress myself over learning Spanish.
It'll happen naturally.
If the year, 2 years, that's fine. That's fine.
Amazingly enough, people don't know that if you listen to a lot of Spanish music, learning it, and kind of more so singing along with it, you get a lot of the little small nuances as to how to speak it properly.
Right. And TV, it's a TV to watch shows in Spanish.
Yes, TV shows using the little the closed caption subtitles, having those in English or in Spanish.
Right.
Doing English and also English with Spanish subtitles.
They told me watch a movie in Spanish and watch it over and over again. Watch it like 3-4 times.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. You know, instead of watching it once,
Right.
most time watch it once, you know what they're saying.
Right.
But watch it 3 or 4 times. The same movie 3 or 4 times.
That's a good idea.
It helps out. When I was in school, what we had to do, because I went to school here for like 1 month or so taking Spanish lessons, what we had to do was listen to video recordings of people in different parts of the country and other countries that were primarily Spanish speaking, but we had to figure out what they were saying.
Right.
So we know that people on the coast spoke a lot faster, but more clear.
Right.
People in Mexico speak a lot faster, but have different usage in words.
Right.
So for example, a lot of people before we even got here, we used to call it Medellin.
Yeah.
So we're like, why is everyone saying Medellin? But we had to know that nuance when we got here.
Yeah. But I love spending time with you guys. You guys have a channel, right? So I'm sure if you want to hear more about their challenges and how they're making out with kids here, and there's a family aspect, tune into their channel. What's the name of your channel again?
A Traveling Jones.
And you'll learn a lot more. I think they're planning to do a lot more videos, talk about their challenges and how they're making out here in Medellin. So, tune into their channel. You learn a lot more about the family aspects, okay?
Yeah.
And I want to thank you guys for spending the time with me today.
Thank you.
All right? And I wish you all good luck. Remember, guys, subscribe and hit the like button, okay? All right, thanks for watching.